Welcome to Family Basics 101. I'm Dr. Bruce McClure, and as we continue our series on premarital counseling, today we will talk about some questions that each individual should ask himself or herself regarding their maturity, and if in fact one is mature enough to really marry. Here are 10 questions that every person should answer for himself or herself prior to getting married. Question number 1. Do I love my future spouse as I would hope they love me? Do you really love this person that you are contemplating marrying? That's a very critical question. Love at several levels. Do you love that person as a friend? Do you love that person as someone that you can trust? Do you love that person in an unconditional manner? Are you willing, if necessary, to lay down your life for that individual? Or is it simply a love of erotic? I love what I see. That's not the right answer if you say, well, I just love what I see. I love his physique. That's okay. She's the most attractive female in the universe. That's okay. But do you love your future mate with all of your heart? Question number 2. How stable are you right now as you are contemplating moving into a marital bond? Mental stability, emotional stability is very important in a marriage. Have you been exposed to domestic violence? Have you been exposed to sexual abuse? Are there any mental illnesses in your family? Is there a history of people being manic, depressive, bipolar, schizophrenic? Are there any sociopathic behaviors within you? Are you an explosive personality person? Are you a dependent personality person? These are critical questions that each person must ask himself or herself relative to their maturity and their readiness for marriage. Here's another question, number 3. Are you bitter inside because of a prior relationship? It could be a prior relationship with a boyfriend or girlfriend. And sometimes the prior relationships go further back to the home. Are you bitter about the relationships in your home? Is that impacting your maturity level? How you think about family? How you trust? Number 4, are you dependent on another for basic directions in life? In other words, I'm going to marry a person to be my alarm clock. I'm going to marry a person to be my bill payer. I'm going to marry this person to be my chef. I'm going to marry this person to be my housekeeper. I'm going to marry this person simply to raise my children. Those are not the good reasons, and it brings into question a person's real maturity level when it comes to marriage. Here's another question, number 5. Do you pout if you do not get your way on all issues? Do you withdraw emotionally? Do you check out because things didn't go your way all the time? Number 6, are you able to stand even on unpopular issues? When you know that you're standing for what's right, when you know you're standing for what's best for the family, are you mature enough to stand, if necessary, all by yourself. Number 7, are you able to talk about topics without emotionally checking out? Now, I don't mean getting caught up in a fuss and a fight and a knockdown, drag out, cussing and fussing match. You need to check out of that. Do not allow yourself to get caught up in standing toe-to-toe bickering and fussing and debating about things that's going nowhere. But when it comes to matters of the heart, matters that really make sense for the family, are you able to discuss those as an adult to an adult? Number 8, do you spend more time with friends than you do your future mate? That will lend itself later on to complications in the marriage. Are you mature enough now to spend more time with your future mate than you do hanging out with the guys, than you do hanging out with the girls? Sometimes I get a little bit uncomfortable when I hear men and women talk about the girls' night out, when they talk about the guys' night out. How often do you have time for your fiance? Dedicated time where you spend time with one another in an undivided attention, where you're listening, where you're talking, where you're expressing your heart, where you're really getting to know each other. Number 9, are your hobbies more important to you than your future mate? That will speak to your maturity of priorities, where fun is more important than the relationship. And number 10, how willing are you to share your possessions? How willing are you to share of your time with your future spouse right now? That speaks to your attention, to the attentiveness maturity. Are you mature enough right now to say, I am willing to share what I already possess? In the biblical text of 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1 through 5, it very clearly teaches that once a person is married, their body is no longer their own body. This simply means that if the marriage is going to be successful, a high level of maturity must be present. It requires maturity to understand that once marriage is entered into, constant consideration must be given to the needs of everyone in the relationship, meaning the husband must give attention to the wife, and the wife must be willing to give attention to the husband. If you answer negative or you struggle with answering these questions, then are you really ready for marriage? I'll see you back in class again next time. Don't be late and don't skip class.